My name is Kassim Ismaily. I am the co-founder and co-director of Greensports Africa. My story starts about 20 years ago, when I was only 5 years old. I started playing, loving, and dreaming about this beautiful, beautiful sport. As we all know, it's called football. I grew up playing football. I've supported Arsenal my whole life. The player that inspired me is Thierry Henry. I grew up with the sport and I played the sport and I became pretty good at the sport. But at the age of around 17 years old, I realized that maybe I'm not going to get the professional opportunity that I was hoping my talent and my hard work and my skill was going to enable me to achieve. At the time, I had a very close friend and a teammate of mine actually, who was going through the same predicament. He's called George. We sat down and we talked and we realized that this football thing professionally is not going to work for us, but as individuals we may have the opportunity to ensure the next generation and the next generation don't end up in the same circumstance that we find ourselves in. And that's when Greensports Africa was born. So this was the idea of two 17-year-olds who were frustrated by the system, frustrated by the sporting infrastructure in the country and the continent as at large, and decided to try and do something about it. Two clueless 17 years old trying to change the sport. The first thing we did is we started by hosting tournaments. I had played in Sweden, George had played in Denmark, and we wanted to bring the same level of competition and professionalism that we experienced in Europe back to our home country, Kenya. So we started by doing tournaments. Our first tournament was actually, when was it? About July 2012. And we had one team, unfortunately. So it wasn't really a tournament, was it? We cancelled that. But within the period of trying to plan for it, there was a lot of learning. Learning about football, learning about business, learning about life, really. And we decided to give it another shot. So in September, we tried again, and we managed to register 6 teams. And it was the first tournament of its kind. It's a grassroots football tournament where teams participate for a specific prize after paying a specific registration fee. So at the time, we had just pioneered a new form of grassroots competition in the country. We tried again and we got 10 teams. And then we tried again and we got 20. Then we tried again and we got 30. By 2014, we were doing 100 teams per event. And we had teams from Tanzania, we had teams from Rwanda, we had teams from Uganda. That told us that this problem that we're trying to fix of opportunity, of professionalism, of elite competition is not a Kenyan problem, it's an African problem. And at the time, we also had a different predicament, which was we were still in university. And the growth of the organization and the ability for us to continue to change the structures of football in the country was in direct contradiction with our ability to continue with our uni at the time. So we made a difficult decision and we decided to put our studies on hold to focus on our passion, what we believe in, and what we think we can really be the best in the world at. Go beyond means a lot for me on a personal and professional level. Go beyond means breaking barriers. Go beyond means changing the narrative. As we all know, football hasn't had a very positive narrative in the country. So going beyond for me has meant we have to change that, especially for the parents. I went beyond on a personal level to change my own parents' understanding and belief in what we are doing as an organization. And going beyond means fulfilling your potential, fulfilling your skill and fulfilling your dreams. It's 2020. The world that our parents grew up in is not the same world we live in today. And I think for us there is opportunity to make a living in what you love, regardless of what that thing that you love is, because we have the internet, we have a larger marketplace, We have access to more information than our parents did, meaning in a lot of scenarios, we might know better in certain cases, with all due respect to our parents. So I really think we need to adapt. We need to grow out of the narrative of growing up, finishing school, going to get a degree, and then taking your brown envelope to every single office until you get a entry-level job, and then work your way to the top for the next 35 years and then retire. That's one avenue. There's nothing wrong with that avenue, but I think if we're being fair and honest to the people who are growing up now, there is just an equal opportunity to sort of go through life and make something out of what it is that you actually are extremely passionate about. It will also be difficult. You'll also get a lot of rejections, but I think you've chosen your struggle, so it may be more fulfilling in the long term. We're currently running social distanced training programs just to make sure our athletes continue developing, whilst being cautious of the current pandemic, of course. So we are very accessible. You can find us.